We will now call the meeting of the Fayette County School Corporation Board of School Trustees business meeting to order. We're here at the Administration Building. It's Tuesday, March 13th, 2018 at 6:30 p.m. And I want to welcome everybody, and we will now stand with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to begin tonight by introducing Gabe Nobby, who is the head of our agriculture program at the high school. Welcome, Gabe.
Hi, how you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Gabe.
Hi, Gabe.
A little gray in that beard.
Oh, it's white. It's not gray. It's a little white. But it's okay. I've earned them. Tonight I got a little presentation for you. We'll see it right back here. I'm trying to look right there. And I'll let you guys kind of go through. I brought some students with us. I'll go ahead and start off. I'm going to bring you guys up if you guys like. With me tonight, I have Elijah Mays. He's a senior this year. Morgan Weir, who's our Chapter FA president, and Michael Bill, who is our Chapter FA vice president. So I'll go ahead and start off with talking about the Ag department, where we're at with some things. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but Ag's a little different than most other departments. There's three things that we really concentrate on Ag that all students take part in. First place is obviously the classroom or laboratory setting, where we have a very intense lab-based classes. They're all lab-based, every one of them. Then another key component of that is the SAE program, which I'll talk about in a little bit, which this is where kids are going to go out and experience something in agriculture. So the idea is they hopefully get a great idea of what they're going to do later in life, and they have first-hand knowledge of it. So we got some kids that have some outstanding SAEs that we'll talk about obviously here in just a second. And then the FA program, which is basically our leadership portion. Hopefully the kids learn a lot of leadership, they grow as people, and they hopefully find some career success through career development events. And this is also a place where we can help engage those students that maybe don't necessarily see school as fun as other places. This is a place where it's a good place to engage them. So currently we have 4 classes that are being taught over at the high school. Introduction to Agriculture, Food and Natural Resources, Animal Science, Ag Power, and Horticulture Science. I just want to show you a few pictures here. These are a couple pictures from International, I call it AFNR, shorten that, put that up. And you see in this picture here, they're making flowers, models of flowers, and they'll label the parts of the flowers, and it's a good way for them to get a hands-on experience to do that one. And this one here, they're seeing this little tray, and you can't really see it real well in the picture, but it's basically like if you take a big aerial topical photo and make a plastic map of it, and then they're watching and see how the water runs and pools in different places, so they can kind of discover that themselves. So that's kind of introduction. We just it's a broad topic. We talk about everything in really broad strokes, and we go to other ones a little more firmly. Horticulture, I put this one here as a picture from one of the plant cells. That's probably one of the biggest things about horticulture is we raise a lot of plants. The greenhouse is full now. These are flowers. This picture was taken yesterday of flowers in the greenhouse right now. So they're looking very pretty, and they're really growing well. So
when's the sale?
It'll be that first Friday in May. I can't remember what the date is, but it'll be that first Friday in May. That's the important day. We'll also be open Saturday, but if you've ever been to the plant sale, it is very, very busy.
And
that
there's
first
nothing
Friday.
left on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. It depends on the day. Last year we had snow like on that Friday evening. It was almost snow, and we had a lot left Saturday, but that Friday evening is usually pretty busy. Then Ag Power, and this one here I showed the plants again because you can see these benches up here. We actually got that grant to get new benches, and Ag Power assembled all the benches in there. So we assembled all those. Here's a picture of a young man working on saw, and in that class they actually created this podium here, and that picture does not do it justice. It was beautiful, and we created it for a ag teacher just north of here at Blue River. She and her husband were in a house fire and were hurt pretty significantly, so we had an auction for them at our recent contest, and that brought $800 at the auction. Nothing got higher than that bid, so it's pretty impressive. The kids did a great job. So we're working on another one right now for us. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. In animal science, and here we got a picture of Elijah here doing a dissection of uteruses that have fetuses in them, so the kids actually see how that's actually implanted in there. Here's also a poster of how those digestive systems work. A lot of times those are very abstract ideas, so this is a way to help bring that to the kids so they can kind of see that. All right, FFA accomplishments. I figured the best way to talk about some of their accomplishments, recent ones, is to let them do it. So, go.
Throughout FFA, we've had a lot of great achievements, and some of those include placing second in the area livestock judging contest last year. That team consisted of Alec Atkins, Aaron Gettinger, and Morgan Hogger. Then we placed second in the plant and soil science demonstration with Elijah last year. And this past summer, I was placed the state winner for my forage production proficiency. And I have a beautiful plaque from that, so show that off a little bit.
It gets better though.
And we then sent my proficiency onto the nationals, where it was considered to be a finalist. And in October, went to Indy, and I was in an interview with 3 other finalists. And unfortunately, I didn't win, but it was a great experience for me, and I learned quite a bit. And I thank the community for supporting me in all of that.
To the top 3 is not bad.
It was actually the top 4. They recognized the top 1, so I can only assume that she was second.
That's right.
That's right. Yes, that's
I didn't
true.
say she
Yes.
was.
That's true.
So recently, last Friday, we went to the District 9 Leadership Contest over in Rushville, and we had quite a successful evening at that. In sheep production proficiency, Morgan Hogger actually won that. And I myself won the vegetable production. I got 3rd place in the vegetable production proficiency. And in freshman extemporaneous public speaking, Evan Schaefer got 3rd place. In talent, Morgan Hogger got 3rd place. And in animal science, Morgan Hogger again got 2nd place. And we did very well overall that Friday evening.
Okay, so in the
This is still the same evening as last
okay,
Friday.
so this is also Michael. He placed 2nd in public speaking, and also in the farm and business management, he also got 2nd place, which is really good for these first couple times that he's presented. But anyways, we'll talk a little bit more about the District 9 contest here in a couple of moments. But I competed in 2 areas at District 9, and I've been doing this for the past 4 years. This has been my 4th time, and I've placed first 5 times so far at district. And as Nobby said, I'm the only student that's ever done that at Connersville. And these are the 2 plaques from from Natural Resources and Plant and Soil Science. I do 2 demonstrations, one on how to graft an apple tree and the other on how to tan a hide, which is 2 areas that not many people are associated with, not too much knowledge about it. And I always try to really make friends with the judges and just not be nervous whenever I talk to them and make friends with them. I mean, I seriously consider some of them my friends. Like they're really good people. But yeah, we've had a lot of success in the past few years, and with a lot of the students, like what's really hard about these demonstrations is the first couple of times, because my freshman year I did the demonstration on how to graft an apple tree by myself. I took and flung a stick at the judges' faces, which I got a 0 in safety there, but I still placed second at district. And then also went to state with the 2 demonstrations last year, went 4 minutes over, got a 16-point deduction from all of the judges, and all the points add up at the end. And I still placed 2nd in one of them and 4th in the other. So with a 16-point deduction, I got hundreds on all of my papers from the judges, and it's just a really great experience.
You can't tell he's good at demonstrating, can you?
Yeah, right.
He's pretty good at it. So.
There's the national finalist plaque and a check in my right hand. That was put to good use in my savings account for college. And then
I don't know how much it was.
that one, what was that one?
$750.
Yeah, that one was $750. I also won 150 from winning the state, so that was really great. And then on the other picture there, I'm with Dr. Stephen Brown, and he's the national advisor for all of FFA. So it was a really great experience to meet him and be backstage with all the national officers and just see how amazing and what a great job that they do.
Okay, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, we'd get more into the District 9 contest. There's 12 districts in Indiana, and each one of them had the surrounding counties. There's many people that compete in different areas of agriculture, such as ag mechanics, public speaking, things of that nature. Like I said, I competed in the plant and soil science and the natural resources, and I was competing against, because you can, whenever you give these demonstrations, you could give it by yourself or you can have a partner. So I was competing from anywhere from 8 to 10 different teams, and it's a really great experience because you get to learn. It really helps your public speaking skills, and it really puts you to the test on your ability to speak and how to demonstrate something in front of anywhere from 4 to 6 judges. And like I said, we had 15 members that went the other day, and this has probably been one of our best years at District 9 at our contest, and it's a really great experience for all of the FFA members.
One thing they may not have noticed, and I know they didn't pick it up, is we competed in 6 of the 7 demonstration areas, and of the 6 we placed first or second in all but 2 of the ones we competed in. So we did very, very well. The kids did a great job.
So recently, the past months, we've went to the elementary schools to give lessons on food insecurity. And so food insecurity is the understanding that some nations and worlds and countries in our world don't have the accessibility to get food. And so we were trying to teach that to the kids at their level in hopes that they'll understand what they have in their lives and have the appreciation of what food they have. And that was really beneficial, and we went and we gave an ice cream party to the winners of the canned food drive. We did a canned food drive at Eastview, and that was very successful as well.
And then from that, we hope to build that, we will be building that into having raised beds at elementary schools as the different ones that desire to, and then the kids will learn how to grow their own food so that they can solve their own food insecurity issues.
It seemed to really help because we went to Fayette Central to pick up the canned foods the other day, and we had their ice cream party with them, and then we went ahead and took the canned foods to the food bank, and we had 650 pounds of canned goods in 2 small cars, if that tells you anything. So,
It's a great time.
The past few years, we've also been involved in Wreaths Across America. For those of you that don't know, there's many wreaths brought to Dale Cemetery, and a few of us have went out and helped place these wreaths on graves that have either been specified to go there or just lay them on any grave or veteran's grave that needs a little bit of something to thank those that served our country.
And these are just a few of the different things we've done. There's a lot of FFA things we do, but if I put them on there, we'd be here for hours, and I could talk about it for hours, but you won't want to hear it. So we just put a few of them on there. Next thing I brought for you is to show you a little bit about SAEs. So an SAE, well, I'll explain for you, and I'll let Michael pass these out. These are just some economic impacts of the SAEs. But what an SAE is, like I said before, is that experiential learning where a kid's going to go out and either have an ownership project, maybe working at a dairy farm, maybe working at their own farm. Both of these folks, or all 3 of these folks, have outstanding SAEs where they're learning those life skills and hopefully find that career path that really fits them. So just I want to kind of highlight this because the computer program we use to keep track of this stuff does this beautiful little economic impact thing for you. So I thought I'd just kind of highlight it. We have 399 student SAEs. So what that means is we don't have that many kids in the program. We got about 120. But that means kids have multiple ones, so that you might have a kid that bales hay, you might have a kid that also cuts wood, works at a dairy farm, or it does 3 or 4 things. So they have 399 of those. 93% of all the students have an active SAE, so that means they're very active in keeping records. And this one kind of blew me away. This is just for the year 2017, so we're not including 18 or any of that, but they had $208,000, almost over $208,000 in assets that they recorded. So we're talking everywhere from cattle to equipment to all kinds of just assets. I mean, just a tremendous amount and a small number of students. They had an income of $20,000. And this part I think is cool because, you know, I'm on city council, so I'm always looking for this one. But it had a total economic impact of $90,000 from what they've done. So pretty impressive in seeing what they've done. And you can see that in here in the report there's a lot more information, but it's going to hit those highlights. You have any questions?
It's really cool to see so many young women involved in agriculture, because back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, FFA was for boys only, and I grew up in northern Indiana where there's hog farmers and the like, and girls were just simply not allowed to pursue these kind of things. And clearly Morgan, the 2 Morgans do very, very well, and it's really opened up career paths for women that want to go into these areas, and that's just great.
It's actually it actually goes a little step further than that. I wouldn't say it's just opened it up. The girls kick down the door and they kind of taken over. And I've taught this is my 16th year, so I've had 16 different FA presidents, and I've had 2 boys. The rest have been young ladies. So they didn't just have opportunities. They're succeeding. They're thriving. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I was just checking with Lori because I couldn't remember, but Dane, I think, was our first, Lori's son, SAE student of yours, and we had Morgan's sister, and we have another one with us, Carmen, and these kids, I mean, quite honestly, they've all probably worked harder and done a better job than some of our regular employees. Very impressive. Their work ethic is stellar. You know, I can't say enough about that program.
Steve, I just want to commend you and congratulate you. I think you do a great job.
I want to meet kids. They do.
Yeah, but your leadership is important.
Thank you.
Yeah, questions? All right.
Just like to say congratulations to all you guys. You guys, that's a lot of hard work,
Yes.
a lot of dedication you put in that. You guys are the leaders of this community and the future leaders of the community as well. So, yeah, keep up the good work. You guys are doing great.
Can we ask real quickly where the seniors are, what they're doing next year?
Go for it.
I will be going to Oklahoma State University and pursuing a degree in agricultural education, and hopes to coming back into our community and possibly teaching with Gabe one day, or
That's so cool.
doing something else in our community with ag sales or something like that.
My plan is to go to Ivy Tech for 2 years through their program that transfers directly to Purdue in studying agronomy and minoring in ag sales or ag business. And whenever I come back, I plan on working at a seed company such as Pioneer or Harvest Land. And I have many opportunities right now for jobs at Harvest Land. It's not necessarily wanting me to do that. So I'm kind of in the middle of what I want to go with that route. Maybe working a full-time or a part-time job and then taking classes in the evening, but something of that sort.
I see salesmen there, yeah.
And for those that don't know, Gabe, you guys do a tremendous job on your awards program at the end of the school year. For the board members that's never been to that, it's fantastic. And it shows how serious these young men and young ladies are. I mean, I was flabbergasted last year.
They do a great job.
Oh, they do. It was some serious stuff, so.
Michael,
Great
are you
job.
a senior?
I'm a junior.
Junior.
But my plans are to go to Purdue eventually after high school and
Let's.
major in ag systems management and probably minor in agronomy. And hopefully come back to Connersville and farm with my dad.
Awesome. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Stick around, Greg. I wonder why. All right, we will move forward here. I would like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda as submitted and amended.
So moved.
Thank you, Mark. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you, Andy. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, we welcome any patron comments on agenda items. Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes from the regular business meeting of 2/13/18, the executive session of 2/13/18, and executive session of 2/19/18, the personnel report, including retirements, resignations, leaves of absences, approval of the February 2018 claims number 49037 through 49321, and donations, a donation of $500 from the McDonald Foundation for CMS, a donation of $13,920 from the East Central Indiana School Trust for the Fayette County School Corporation Wellness Initiative, and a donation of $1,000 for CHS from Dr. Dana Riemann. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I so move.
Okay, thank you, Ann, and the second, Lori. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we will now move on to action items. We'll begin with the personnel report, recommendations for employment. Mr. Serqua.
Thank you. I have two recommendations for employment. Administrative staff. I'd like to recommend Megan Gilman for Director of Special Education. And the classified staff, Janet Faber, Educational Assistant at Connersville High School. And then also you'll see on the report that we're requesting a salary adjustment, as we have done in the past whenever we feel there's an area that needs to be improved upon or made equal. We're looking at the subs for educational assistant. We have been paying them $7.25. We recommend that we move that to $8.25. And then activity bus usage. For shuttle runs, you'll notice a memo in there from our transportation director to put a $15 an hour stipend for those people that drive the minibus for some of our shuttle runs instead of a bus driver using a big bus. We're trying to save money, but yet use additional people besides our bus drivers.
And they're not required to have a yellow card
Right.
to drive those buses.
Right.
So most of them are not.
They're in the process.
Yeah. If a licensed bus driver drives the route, they will receive the regular bus driver route. These are the people who do not have a yellow card to drive the big bus, would only be the only ones receiving the lower rate.
And they would have they have more specificity in what they're going to do.
Right, they're just transporting typically 1 to 2 children for some shuttles and some kids that we need to transport, working with other districts,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the personnel report.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Warren. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that. Madam
Thank you,
President.
Chris. Any discussion?
Thank you, Mr. Serqua. As a person who has substituted for an educational assistant and been paid $7.25 an hour for doing it, there are some educational assistants that simply have to have a sub for. And we couldn't find them, and I understand why, and this is a huge step in the right direction for recognizing the value of these people. And nobody is an educational assistant, substitute, or full-time because they make a lot of money. And this will make it a lot more fair, I think, for people. And this is something that's been on my agenda for a couple of years. Thank you, thank you, thank you for getting this through. I think this will open up more people to be willing to do that also. So we won't be scrambling for people when we don't have the educational assistant there. So, thank you very much.
Before we take the vote, we can also recognize Megan Gilman, who's here. It's going to be our new East Central Special Ed Director for the coming year. So we were fortunate enough to get to meet her and speak with her before the meeting tonight, so. Okay, all those in favor of approving the personnel report, please raise your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will now move on to the approval of revisions to the 2018-19 school calendar. Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. President, Board. There's just one change. This was a calendar that the board did approve last year at this time, and we became aware of a conflict with our October Professional Development Parent Conference Day. It interferes with our PSAT testing, and there are 2 dates typically offered during the week, and the other one falls on our break time. So we needed to make a 1-day adjustment with when we have that parent conference, Professional Development Day, so it moved from October 10th to the 9th. All other information remains the same with our dates on that calendar, so I submit that to you for approval with that one revision.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the revisions for the 2018-19 school calendar.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Lori. Do I hear a second?
Madam President, I'll second that.
Thank you, Chris. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And now we'll look at the approval of the 2019-2020 calendar, Mr. Collins.
Right, and this calendar has a couple of changes from past practice. I want to share first the process that was involved. We had a whole group of parents, teachers, staff members, administrators, and Mr. Beard was here representing the board, meeting as a committee to look at our calendars, and we had a recommendation from the group to look at adding Wednesday before Thanksgiving as a day with no school. No one around the table could think of a reason why we wouldn't try it, and I thought, well, let's try it and see how it goes. So that was a consensus with the room, so we are going to have a 3-day Thanksgiving break in 1920. We'll see how it goes. I personally am sort of excited about that, and I don't think that'll impact our Spartan game that night. I think we'll still have a full house, but we are going to try that, and my agreement with that committee was let's see how it goes and evaluate it, and then we can take that into consideration for future calendars. School will start on the 1920 calendar, August 7th.
2020.
1920.
2019 to 2020.
No, I'm sorry, 2019, 2020. I just said 1920. I wasn't.
It's all right.
That's a leap.
Warren, I'm not going there because you may remember that.
I like it.
No, that was 29 that depressed.
Oh, that's true. Yes. So anyway,
Moving on.
2019, 2020 calendar, we'll begin school August 7th. We will have our professional development, the building day for that, and parent conferences on October 14th, which is a Monday. We'll have our regular 2-week winter break, and something that we made a decision last year, we'll keep our fall and spring breaks aligned to the last full week of October for the fall break and then March for the spring break. So that gives parents consistency and staff to know with planning, so that seems to work well. And one request from the committee was we don't build in any snow makeup days and see how that goes.
Okay.
So we are not going to have any built-in snow makeup days in this calendar. That's what we're proposing, and then we'll just add on days at the end of the year. So
And
I think we'll have a mild
if
winter.
the gods are kind, we will not need them.
We will. And the one thing here, we have the 2-week spread between the last day and graduation, so we do have some wiggle room there, and that was a discussion among the committee. So I just want to acknowledge the group that sat around this table and brought some really good ideas, and we're very open, and everyone had a voice here, and we made sure that everyone had a voice to weigh in and share their thoughts. So that's the 2019-2020 calendar for your consideration.
Thank you very much. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the 2019-2020 school calendar.
I so move.
Thank you, Ann. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Warren. Any further discussion?
The day it would be really interesting to see the absenteeism on the Tuesday as opposed to the absenteeism on the Wednesday, because the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, absenteeism was rather rampant, both for students and sometimes for staff.
Now you're gonna see if it happens on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're not
because we have
gonna see-
Wednesday off.
And that's one of the things we're looking at. We did share that out,
They take the whole
student
week
and
off.
staff
Yeah.
attendance, to see how that looked. And I will tell you that we had an inflated number at the high school because I think some social media gossip came around and we had more students out than normal, but we are gonna watch. That's one of my biggest concerns is, does this trickle over into more people taking off Monday and Tuesday?
Yeah.
But, like I said,
It's
we
worth a-
give it a try and see how it
it-
goes.
Yeah, because to fill for subs that day.
It's tough.
Is really tough. That was the day that, when I was subbing, I could have been 5 places on any given day. So it'll be really interesting to see, well, it's only 2 more days, I don't know. It'll
We'll be watching it closely.
Okay. Fair enough.
Thanks.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And we will have these posted on our website then as well. So that'll be available for the public to view this week.
Okay, now we move on to Head Start orientation, approval of Head Start grant, budget, self-assessment, and goals. Ms. Corsaro.
Thank you, Board President. Board, I'm going to have Ms. Boggs come and talk to you about the Head Start grant.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
This is information you hear every year, and believe it or not, that's a Head Start federal requirement. So I'll move through those 3 things pretty quickly, but please wave at me or whatever. If you have a question, we'll stop and go through those. First thing we want to talk about, just governing board orientation, something we have to do every year. And again, Head Start is a federally funded program. It began in the 60s as part of President Johnson's War on Poverty, and so that included lots of different programs that are still in operation today. The original purpose, again, was to give children who live in poverty a leg up or some readiness skills as they move into the public schools. Because again, even to this day, we recognize that children who live in poverty do start with a disadvantage, so we want to give them that Head Start. I think again, when a lot of people think of Head Start, you think of I wouldn't say every day is a cute little preschool program, but you think of those preschool classrooms. But Head Start is, the Head Start that we are supposed to give children is not only academically, we want to give them those pre-readiness skills, but we also provide nutrition. At Head Start, they get 2/3 of their daily requirement of nutrients at our program because we want them to be well fed. We know they perform better. They have to be physically ready to learn as well. So again, they get a vision screening when they come to Head Start. They get a dental screening. They have to do a physical. They get a speech and hearing screening when they come in, and also a mental health behavior screening as well. And again, in our community, we are so fortunate to have professionals like Dr. Yaryan who provide those services to our students for free. That not only helps our in-kind match, but again, other programs pay for those services, and because of our community, we do not. So we appreciate that a lot. Our Head Start in our community is a little different than what you see in a lot of other communities. Most Head Starts come out of a CAP agency or a community action program. Those CAP agencies also house other programs that came out of President Johnson's War on Poverty. They still have those feeding programs and that kind of thing. So the difference that makes, and I've said this time and again, but I sincerely mean it, the difference that makes to our program is it does set the bar higher. Because we're part of the school corporation, we follow school corporation policies. Our teachers are trained. They have a bachelor's degree. We have 4 out of 6 teachers who have master's degrees in early childhood. So we have well-trained staff. All of our educational assistants have to have at a minimum a CDA or a child development associate. So we do have a very well-trained staff. But I just think part of that school corporation granteeism is that it sets the bar higher for our program. So again, that does make a difference to the program quality, I believe. As well, because we're part of the school corporation and you're our grantee, our governing board is this board. So as part of that board, you need to make sure that we are in compliance with federal laws and regulations, and that's probably our favorite thing to do every day. Understand the philosophy and rules of parents and policy council and how important that is to student success. To be fiscally and legally accountable to oversee our program. Also, to make sure that we have internal controls that safeguard federal funds. That's one of their favorite rallying cries when they come around. And just to make sure that you review and approve all of our major agency policies, and that includes what we're doing tonight, approving the grant for next school year. So that is your responsibility as our governing board. We also have a shared governance between this board and our Fayette County Head Start Policy Council, and that is comprised of 51% current parents plus community members. And they meet once monthly. They kind of hear some of the same things that you do. They also have to approve our grant and our budget for next school year. Locally, Head Start serves all of Fayette County. That is our service area. We have 6 Head Start classrooms at 4 sites. And we also maintain that partnership with CF Special Services. So we serve an additional 15 to 30 special needs preschoolers in our classrooms, as well as the 162 we're funded for through Head Start. So we did get new Head Start performance regulations last, I think, fall of 2016. Not a lot of changes, but a few. One of those was that by the year 2019, they wanted 50% of all Head Start classrooms to be full day. We did receive, I don't know if you'd call it a reprieve, we've got research that says full day classrooms produce higher outcomes for children, but they have kind of rescinded they absolutely did, rescind the 50%. They still encourage you to have full day classrooms in Head Start, but they cannot fund them. So they want you to do it, but they haven't provided the money to do it. So that's one of the big changes that came about. But the second one was that in order to receive certain other funds, that you had to be in a QRIS program, and that's just a quality rating program for preschools and childcare. So we entered into that in the fall. And the first step in that was to have every one of our classrooms or sites has to be licensed. That was a costly little adventure, also tedious. So not only do we have the 2,500 Head Start regulations, but now we have state regulations as well. And one of my favorite things that we have to do, we have to wash hands 5 times a day with children. That's required, not 5 times, but after certain events. So that's the one we have the most complaining about in 3.5 hours. But we did receive, all of our sites were licensed at the end of February. So the next step then would be to enter into a QRIS program, and the only way you can enter is if you're licensed. So step 1. So we are at level 1 in QRIS. Our state coach is coming this week to work with all of our sites. We hope to be at level 3. We hope to be at level 3 by May. Our end date that we just say we have to be is by September. The state has told us they would fast track us through that program, but again, you have to meet every level, you have to meet every step. So we're hoping for May, but it might be September. And then we should be at level 3. And not only does that give us the advantage, I mean, it shows that you're a quality program, but it also puts our program in line to receive some state funding, state preschool dollars, the state On Our Way pre-K program you probably have read about. That puts our county right in line to receive some of those. So we hope as they become available to Fayette County in the future that we can also help the school corporation by receiving those funds. So some new things, some old things, but the Head Start regulations reign in our world. So, as part of our grant, every year we write a grant. We were one of the first programs in the state to get a 5-year grant. This is our last year of that 5-year grant. We are in year 5, so next year we will start year 1 again. The first step in that, though, is to do a self-assessment, and we started that in December. You look at every aspect of your program, every report you ever run, every field that you look at. And we collected data, we set up a self-assessment committee, and that has to be made up of parents and staff and community members. And we conducted our self-assessment across all of our program, including health is a big one, education, of course, disabilities, family partnerships, community partnerships, facilities and equipment, again, human resources and financial management. So that committee looked at all of those areas and lots of documents, and they came up with a list of strengths, and those are not new. We do have a highly qualified staff. We do have a strong record-keeping program. We do have good monitoring procedures. They're pretty comprehensive, and sometimes they kind of weigh you down, but it does show you that you're on the right track. The biggest area, again, is Fayette County Schools as our grantee. That not only provides us with good facilities, we always have comments on our classrooms, how well kept they are. And that's a direct compliment to our maintenance and our daily custodial staff. But also transportation. Our transportation is a strong event. We have strong community partnerships. We have a good partnership with our local special ed co-op. We serve their children in our classrooms as well. And then fiscal management. Sometimes some Head Start programs have gotten in trouble with fiscal management, and safeguarding those federal funds is a strict regulation of yours. But again, with Janie and what she does and works with our committee, we've never had any questions about that. So again, being part of the school corporation has made us a strong program. We looked also at some areas in the next 5 years we want to look at. Those go directly into our grant, and we do have to commit some of that grant money to those goals. So real quickly, we just want to continue our ongoing planning process to make sure we have good quality services, and that will be over that 5-year period. So we want to make sure that that is a strong area for us. We need to work with our families to increase wellness through the delivery of quality services, so not only for our children, but for our families as well. Increase parent involvement, encourage parents to take active roles in the community. That's a big Head Start push. So we're looking at maybe starting a leadership series with our parents and have them go to committees with us and working in the community to build that relationship for them as well. We want to encourage regular collaboration between staff and parents. And again, the biggest thing that we can do for children that will lead to success is also the biggest thing we can do for parents. Build those relationships. That is the first step. That is the hardest step sometimes, but it's the most important step for our children and our families. So we want to continue to work on that daily. That's going to ensure that they have success and that we have success as well. We want to make sure there's opportunities for meaningful ongoing communication so that we have a coordinated system approach. And last but not least, we want to make sure that we follow those Head Start performance standards and we keep up our licensing in that QRS program so we can be a strong program and an asset to the school corporation as well. So all of that self-assessment information then feeds into the grant. So our Head Start grant budget has to be submitted by April 1st, and I always love that because that's April Fool's Day. It's kind of fitting sometimes. We can apply for $1,133,401, and that is the same amount that we had this school year. So there was no increase in that. But that also includes almost $19,000 that has to be earmarked for training, not only of staff, but of parents as well. We are required to provide about $284,000 in matching funds, and that would be our in-kind match. So again, that's a job every year to make sure that we raise that non-federal match for them. And we have heard through the grapevine, it's been hinted at a couple of conferences that we've been to, that there's a possibility that we might have cost of living funds available this spring. So that's usually not a big amount, but it always helps out the budget. And then also, for the first time since 2011, there's the possibility that they will have some one-time program improvement money available. And we've always earmarked that for buses and transportation, but we're hoping that would be 2 additional grants to write, but we're hoping that both of those come through, because that would definitely help the program. We are funded to serve 162 children. We also partner with CF Special Services and serve 15 to 30 of their children in our classrooms as well. If you look at that budget, our salaries and fringes will take up about 88% of that budget. So that's always the big cost and the big worry. Training always has to be implied in that, so that'll be about 2%. Other costs will be about 9%, supplies about 2%. Again, especially working with salaries and fringes, that's always a challenge, but it's a worthy challenge because, again, we do have highly qualified staff, and that certainly helps the quality of our program. Any questions? Ms. Leslie?
I don't have a question. I have a comment.
Oh.
We are going to be so sorry to lose you.
Thank you. I
You
appreciate
know,
it.
I've had the pleasure of knowing you for far longer than my tenure on the school board, but wow, you have just taken this program so far, and we couldn't be more fortunate to have had you at the helm for all this time, and our kids are just so fortunate to have had such a stellar program. And
I
know-
will say what Gabe said. I have a wonderful staff behind me. We have good children and good families. That makes all the difference in the world.
I agree 100%,
Yeah.
and I'm
I
just...
appreciate that, though.
I just really am thankful that you've been here, so... I
We've
just
got a
wanted to
good,
put
strong
that out
staff. I feel like we're leaving it in good hands, so.
Good.
I appreciate that, though.
And Lori, you will have DVD copies of this presentation for sale for your retirement.
Really?
So
Will that
fundraising.
fund something for me?
Thanks, Lori, I
You're
just want to
welcome.
acknowledge that too, Lori.
I agree.
Just, you talk about someone who's kid-focused and a kid advocate. That's Lori, and she knows what I think of her.
Yeah, I do.
I was not happy.
We promise not to get sappy with each other,
We
so.
know, but I appreciate you sharing that, Leslie.
And I want to say too, I truly do appreciate the school and their foresight in having a Head Start program. I know sometimes just because of those regulations that the federal government has for us, that sometimes makes it hard and challenging for a school board or for schools, just because some of those regulations are so different than what you do in a school every day. So I so appreciate that. The community needs it, and it is very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you,
thank
Lori.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, so asking for approval of the Head Start grant budget, self-assessment, and goals.
I'll make that motion.
Great.
I'll
And
second.
Thank you. And any further discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to some discussion items, beginning with the resolution of the Orange Township Board. Ms. Karen Pollock.
Thank you, Mrs. Jacobs. I'm sure the board remembers that a couple months ago, we approved a resolution asking to transfer a portion of the property to Orange Township based on their request that they received that to have a little land left out there for the basketball goals. After further consideration, a majority of the Orange Township has decided that they no longer wish to have that section of land. So they have prepared a resolution asking that they, or expressing that they do not have any interest in that property anymore. So I ask that this be included as a discussion item on the board agenda so that it would be reflected in the minutes, and therefore 20 years from now, when someone asks why the school didn't give that property to Orange Township, or why, what happened to that, why was it not like the Alquina property, we would have a record that they had requested to not accept that property. We all know governmental entities struggle with their property taxes, and this would just be a parcel of land that they would have to pay insurance on, that they would have to maintain. And so Marion and two other of the board members have decided to ask us not to give that to them. So on another note, I will share that we have received one appraisal for the property already from Matt Napote from Richmond. He had done some appraisal work for us, as a matter of fact, for Head Start previously, and Mr. Taylor knows him. We're waiting on the second appraisal. Bob Stewart here in town has indicated that he would be willing to do that for us. So as soon as we have that, we'll move one more step forward, I hope, in the process of selling off the orange property. So we'll keep, to be continued, how about that?
Thank you, Janie. Okay, now we'll discuss the elementary CMS, CHS, WCC discipline plans, bus conduct, FCSC code of conduct. Mrs. Cursar.
Great, thank you, President. Again, it is time to review the student discipline handbooks for all of the schools. I have included them for you. You can see that all of the changes or any changes made to the handbooks are in another color. Our attorney, Michelle Cooper, has looked over them and she is okay with them, but I want to give them to you to have an opportunity to read through them and look through them. I can say the only real change to the books include a pesticide application notice, and I know Janie had talked about that earlier in the summer. We are required to notify our parents when we are applying pesticides in our building and giving them the opportunity to be notified. So we've included in our books how to follow the process if they want to be notified. So you will see that as probably the main change in all of our books. Other than that, it's some dates, some names, and some updating of some different things, but mainly that's the main change that we've had in all of our books.
So there's no major code changes?
No major code changes this year.
Because we had...
Yes, we had a couple last year.
We had a couple last year, yeah.
Right. So they're there, and we will be bringing them back to you next month to ask for your approval on them.
Thank you. All right, now is our public comment time. Persons wishing to make the board aware of suggestions, ideas, and/or comments may address the board at this time. Comments which involve personnel or students must be discussed in private. Okay, seeing none, we will move on to report items. Superintendent discussion groups report. Principal directors reports. Yes, Mr. Judd.
Usually don't do this, but you did approve a donation from Dr. Ryman tonight. If you remember in the previous meeting, you also approved a $5,000 donation from Dr. Ryman and his wife Eileen, Dr. Cravens. They also created a foundation endowment over $125,000 they put aside for future years for CHS teachers to use for supplies and equipment in their classroom. He's a 1972 graduate of Connersville High School, has fond memories of our community and our school, has a lot of patience from Connersville and found a way to give back, and I just want to publicly thank him. What happened is I took a bunch of applications, invited him over, he looked at them, I said, you know, forget this one, we've got the money for this, forget this one. So he took the ones, he said, let me decide. I'll take them home and my wife and I will look at it. Well, he decided that he wanted to fund a little bit more than he had originally promised, so he wrote another check. So my public thanks to Dr. Ryman and Dr. Cravens for their foresight to take care of some teacher needs at Connersville High School for many years to come.
Thank you, Randy. Any other principal directors reports? Okay, Director of Human Resources report.
Yes, I'd like to echo congratulations to Lori, and I've enjoyed working with you both times. She's great to work with, and I appreciate all her hard work and dedication. I also would like to take a moment and talk to you a little bit about our new special ed director and give you some information about her. We're extremely pleased to announce that Megan Gilman will become our special ed coordinator for the Fayette County Schools. Megan received her bachelor degree in special education from Clemson University in 2009 and her master's degree from the University of Northern Colorado in 2012. After receiving her degree, Megan became the Director of Education and Student Service Coordinator at St. Joseph Orphanage and was there from 2010 to 2014. She was then hired as Special Programs Coordinator for Forest Hill Schools in Cincinnati for 2014-15, and then Megan came to us from Mount Healthy School Corporation, where she was the Student Service Supervisor 2015 to present. Megan is very excited about joining the Centerville Fayette Special Services. She believes in unlocking growth and potential in all of her students. She has moved from the classroom to the building principal before becoming a special education supervisor. Her diverse educational experience provide her with skills, knowledge to ensure the best possible services for our students. Again, I want to welcome Megan to be part of our family here.
Thank you, Mike.
Speech, please.
3 minutes prior. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to come.
All right, Director of Finance report, Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, that's always money things to talk about.
She's banking.
Oh, I can talk about it.
I know.
She's banking her time.
Right, that's right. Assistant Superintendent report.
I'd like to again echo what everybody else has said and thank Lori for your time. I don't know anyone that's more passionate about your job and the kids of Fayette County, so I appreciate all of your time and I've enjoyed working with you. Also would like to welcome Megan aboard. And then just want to compliment our tech department, our building level administrators, staff and students. We have successfully completed round 1 of iStep. So, and we are now preparing for round 2. So
I read in the middle.
and with I read in the middle, exactly. So, but we were able to accomplish that without any large glitches, and so thanks to Terry Miller and the tech team for all that they did up front to make sure that our kids didn't have those kinds of problems as they were taking iStep, so we appreciate that.
Okay, Superintendent's report.
Well, I echo everything Kim said about congratulations, and Lori, I'm still mad, and Terry, all the work that goes on behind the scenes to make iStep, and all that we do with technology work is because of the dedicated folks we have in our technology department. So I want to publicly recognize you too as well and your team. I want to commend our fine arts programs at both middle school and high school, especially with just some of the really great things they're doing, the accomplishments, the gold ratings that they're receiving in the competitions, and then also with our band program and the work that's going on there with bringing the Guard back. That was really neat. They performed at one of our ball games at halftime, and it was really, really neat. And there's a lot of enthusiasm and excitement there. So just with the winter season over now with sports officially, and we're transitioning to spring, practices have started. Just want to acknowledge those folks and the work that's going on, and the long Saturdays, the early morning Saturday bus trips to Indy and various places, and a lot of good things going on in our fine arts programs as well as athletics. So that's it.
All right. For the good of the cause, anybody have anything they want to share tonight?
We have a lot of good people, and we do a lot of great things here. The icing on the cake for us is our community. They not only support us at our athletic events, but they support us financially. And I wasn't aware of the $125,000 additional dollars that the Rymans are helping us with, but just tonight there's over $15,000 in donations from the community, and it's like that every month. So we are fortunate. We can't help but be successful, and our kids will be successful. So that's all I wanted to say.
I'd like to thank our boys basketball team again. Having watched those kids play since 7th grade, it's just so cool. Coach Brown does a wonderful job, and Spartan Nation travels well. And at Tiernan Center, we had more Spartan fans there than the other schools combined. They played hard. They did us proud, and they did themselves proud. And those kinds of things. Maybe it was my 50-year reunion last year, and we remembered what we did 50 years ago in the sectional tournament, and we didn't win either back then. But those are the kinds of memories that are just so important, and there's so much a fabric of this community with our banners in the bowl. So we didn't get a banner this year. Well, that's okay, because our kids played hard, and Coach Brown did a really good job. And there was pride in the community, in that group of young men in short pants, as my grandmother would say.
Thank you. I want to again commend our wellness committee and our food service. It was another wonderful article in the paper, thank you very much, Mr. Stanton. You know, it's been a year to celebrate a lot of things related to our food service program, our food insecurity in the community, the program on the Sunday morning, and just all the work that our administrative team does to make sure that we are doing the most we can for our kids and also the healthiest. So that's just exciting that it just keeps going. And you know, this money donated for the wellness initiative, and I get to be on that committee, and the things that everybody's doing in the school, in each school, is really interesting to me, and how creative they are. And Kelly Flum has just got so many ideas. She's just fabulous. So, but I did want to thank the newspaper for making those articles appear and, you know, saying wonderful things about our school. So.
Something, need your help, Randy. We had iStar Awards. Could you tell us who those recipients were? I think it's a great program, and I just want to recognize those people.
Yeah, you put my memory on the spot.
Well,
Tori Bostwick, and she nominated Beth Fuller from Gracie. She was her third grade teacher, I believe. We had Abigail
Jacobs.
And who did she nominate, Scott?
She had Paula Shells.
Paula Shells. See, he's younger, he's got the memory.
It takes all of us.
And
That's right, we're a team.
one more.
Yeah.
Cooley.
Cooley.
Yeah, Katie.
Katie.
She was sitting at my table.
Yeah.
And Katie nominated her music teacher from grade school.
Middle school.
Was
Teresa Lewis.
Teresa.
Yeah.
Was it middle school?
Yeah.
Okay. And 3 outstanding young ladies, 3 outstanding educators, and I wish my memory was better. I apologize to everyone. Next time, ask me before the meeting.
That's right.
Did I miss that in the paper?
I'm not sure if it was in the paper or not.
Okay, that's why I asked, because I didn't recall seeing a picture. I just want to recognize those people, though, so thank you for helping me.
All right, anything else?
Speaking of wellness, we are going to have just a light reception afterwards to welcome Megan, so feel free to stay. We're going to have cheese ball and cookies, so. That's not nutritious.
Hey, it's cheese, that's dairy.
There you go. Okay. All right, I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Bill Warren, second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you, Mark. All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.